How's it going, guys? Batting sixth back here again for another video. Sorry for being late to posting some content. It has been a wild week for me, and it's been a wild week for your Toronto Blue Jays. So if you're new here and you love to talk about the Blue Jays, make sure to like this video and subscribe. I'd love to have you guys here. I'm on my way to hopefully hitting 1,000 subscribers by February, maybe. I don't know. I'd love to do that. So if you're a Jays fan, make sure to subscribe. But we've got news that has just come out a couple hours ago, and I want to talk about it because I think a lot of Blue Jays fans, and rightfully so, are excited anytime something happens. And I know that we're approaching the winter meetings, and this is kind of like a preview, a little bit of that. I might make another video tomorrow morning kind of previewing the Toronto Blue Jays winter meetings. But Yariel Rodriguez was just basically designated DFA'd. He was taken off the 40-man, and I think a lot of fans are like, oh, something's happening, which, I mean, something could be happening, but let's break this down a little bit, and there's some tweets that will help the way that I'm explaining this. So as you can see here, Francis Romero was the first one to report that Yariel Rodriguez was DFA'd, and he had a 1.4 WAR out of the bullpen, 73 innings, 3.08 ERA, which isn't terrible, but he was left off of the World Series roster, and he didn't really play well against the Mariners in the ALCS either. Ben Nicholson-Smith then also tweeted it out, but then gave some more context here. So we can deduce a few things from the Yariel move. 29 teams passed on claiming him, which again would have saved the Blue Jays some money, $17 million over the next 3 years had he been claimed, but he wasn't. The Blue Jays would have been okay to see him leave for no return. And then 3, I'm guessing, on here, listed as 2 again. Jays prefer to have Rodriguez off the 40-man, freeing up valuable space for somebody else. Then the Blue Jays made it official. And then Shai Davidi also chimed in saying he remains in the organization, but the Blue Jays just freed up a 40-man roster spot, and he can always be added back. And then Ben Nicholson-Smith again also tweeted out he remains in the Blue Jays organization as of now, barring a change would arrive at spring training and attempt to earn a job like any non-roster player, and the Blue Jays can just bring him back if they want to afterwards if he's battling for a spot. So I wanted to bring that up because I think a lot of Blue Jays fans, like I said, are expecting a huge move coming in relation to this. And, you know, oh, Diaz, I keep seeing Diaz, and we're going to talk about him in this video. I'm not here to be the type of guy that basically puts cold water on fires and stuff like that. And when people are putting up these big fires and saying, oh my God, there's so much happening, like that meme where there's that guy there and there's fire everywhere. I'm not going to be the guy that tries to put a damper on everybody's happiness and parade here. But I don't think the Blue Jays are making a move in corresponding to this, but also I just don't think they're going to get Diaz. And again, we'll talk about that later on. But again, I just want to also bring up the fact that the Blue Jays now have 37 spots, but this is before the Cody Ponce signing, which we will also talk about because Cody Ponce is now a part of the Blue Jays pending a physical. So after he officially signs, they will have 2 available spots on their roster on the 40-man. So again, 37 spots currently, 38 with Ponce, and this was a pretty big move as well. Coming off a dominant MVP season in the KBO, 17-1 with a 1.89 ERA, the KBO MVP. Ponce is 31 years old. He had a bit of a rough career in the major leagues. It was very short-lived, but as you can see, he's kind of cleaned it up here. His ERA has gotten better as time goes on. As time has gone on, there's not a ton of detailed statistics that I have right now in terms of Ponce because, you know, it's a little bit different in the KBO. And I just want to let people know that I do believe that he's a depth starter. I don't believe he's going to come close to those numbers. He has a kick change that has worked really well. His fastball velocity has gone up. And again, I'm very excited about this. Anytime you can add a quality arm, it's going to be good. If he has a sub 4 ERA, like if he's in the 3.5 to 3.7, I'm going to be pretty happy because I think that's where he's going to live. And again, that's not a bad thing. Sub 4 ERA is all I'm looking for from him. I would love to be in the 3.5 to 3.7 area. I think the Blue Jays would be happy with that as well, giving him $10 million per season. So I'm happy with Ponce. I think he's going to fit in really well. He's a guy that could slot in as their fifth starter. He could be a long relief guy. He could be a spot starter. I don't know what the Blue Jays are going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about Barrios in a second, but I brought up Edwin Diaz, and I think a lot of people got excited when they saw this a few days ago, that it could be a battle between the Blue Jays and Mets for Edwin Diaz. Now, I am not a reporter with credentials. I don't go to the winter meetings. I'm a guy that just has a YouTube channel and an opinion. And I'm not discrediting these guys because they get paid to do what I would love to get paid to do, talking baseball and talking sports. But these guys really don't know. There's only a few reporters out there that truly know what's going on. And I don't know if it's John Heyman, and I don't think it's Bob Nightingale, who's also just made a bunch of mistakes. And he made another one today saying that Zach Gallen had signed with the Cubs, and that did not happen. But you got to be careful when you read stuff like this. I do believe the Blue Jays have kicked tires on Edwin Diaz. Just as a fan, I think they've probably done that just to do their due diligence, to see what the money is. Because if they called Diaz and went, oh yeah, this is the team I want, I'll do deferrals and I'll take less money, duh. But that's not going to happen. So the Blue Jays, more than likely, if they're missing out on some of the big bats that they're looking for, I think would probably try to enter the Edwin Diaz market if possible. But I think that they're going to try to go by committee here and try to acquire a couple really solid arms, because I think people are also forgetting that Yimi Garcia exists and he's going to be brought back into the fold for the Blue Jays. And I kind of want to bring up the Fangraphs here. Right now, they have Cody Ponce slotted in as the fifth starter. They have Barrios not here. He's going to be in a relief role according to them, but that's definitely not going to happen. But when you look at the bullpen right now, Hoffman's got a spot. Yimi's got a spot. Varland's got a spot. Fisher has a spot. I would say Fluharty is probably the lefty that they're going to have instead of Little. Maybe they will have him in there. I don't know. But I think Lauer and Fluharty instead of Little being there. I don't know about Tommy Nance. I think they'll keep him there battling for a spot in camp. And again, I don't think Barrios is going to be a part of the bullpen. And, there's guys that are knocking on the door, like I believe Mako and Tiedemann. Tiedemann apparently is going to be healthy for spring training, so that's a guy to look out for. I don't think he's ready. I think they're going to put him in AAA, get some innings under his belt. But I could see the Blue Jays being a trade deadline team when it comes to like an elite closer or a bullpen arm. Like they're going to maybe use the deadline as a chance to get another big arm. They're going to sign a guy who is like an above average reliever and then maybe get a guy that is a project. And I think that's something that they're looking at right now, because we don't know if Cody Ponce is actually going to stay in the rotation. If he's good but not great as a starter, they might use him in the bullpen. And that, again, adds another really expensive, good arm to your bullpen. And I think that that's totally fine. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. I'm not going to talk too much at length about Diaz and the bullpen right now because there hasn't really been any smoke there. There hasn't really been any big news there. So I don't want to, put out any false information. Now, another thing, again, from our friend John Heyman, guy, again, that I'm saying, take everything with a grain of salt. There's him saying Toronto seems to be the favorites for Kyle Tucker. Bichette's market isn't moving much. And he's not turning down the possibility of Toronto getting both Tucker and Bichette. So, again, there's a lot of exciting things there, but take it with a grain of salt. I would love to have both of those guys. I don't know if it's possible. It is if they were to move off of Barrios and then somehow move off of Santander as well. Then you're saving yourself some money and you're putting it towards guys that are obviously a lot more valuable, but that seems more like video game like. I don't know if that's something that they're going to be able to do. Their payroll is going to be quite high, but getting a guy like him like Tucker and getting Bo would be fantastic. So a lot of news here, a lot of things to talk about, and I want you guys to sound off in the comments down below. Are the Blue Jays actually favorites for Kyle Tucker? What's going to happen now with the Blue Jays now that they have a couple open roster spots? Does that Yariel DFA actually mean anything? I want you guys to comment down below. Let's have healthy and fun conversations. This isn't to call somebody stupid. This isn't to argue with people. Let's just be fun. Let's have some Blue Jays conversation. And yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy. This was Batting Six, a bit of a news outline of things going on, and also potentially some good stuff coming out of the winter meetings, a little bit of a preview. I've got more coming. This is Batting Sixth. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.